career and your growth towards the Davie Group and growing all these brands, did you consistently learn and educate yourself throughout that time?
100%. It's the only way you can succeed in business, especially when you're young. You don't have first-hand on-the-job experience, so you need to find people that have done it before, whether that's YouTube videos. You know, we've talked about a lot about reading, and it might sound like I'm some bookworm. The truth is, I struggle to read. I don't read heaps and heaps of books a year. I watch a million YouTube videos and I read a million blog posts, and I go on PubMed and read studies there. So it's not just about books, but they're the resources that I have relied on to grow very, very quickly. And that's why I put so much time into my YouTube. You know, these people have unlocked the optionality we keep talking about within my life, and a degree of happiness as well.
Yeah, hands down. Podcasts are also one.
Sorry, podcasts, actually, to be honest, podcasts, I would almost put that above YouTube, to be honest, in how I've absorbed.
Downloading the information from other people's brains, aren't
Exactly.
you? Learning from their experiences. What are the benefits from growing these social media accounts, and does it help fast track some of the growth that you see in those businesses?
It's incredibly powerful. You know, Mr. Beast just opened a restaurant, and so there was like 10,000 people stormed the mall, and he filled out a whole mall. People were camping out for 24 hours. That is the power of community and these followings. You know, he did 100 million in his first year without opening a restaurant, just by selling like a franchise model, a digital franchise model through Uber Eats. These communities are so powerful. There is the transactional element where you could just build a platform to advertise through, and that's kind of the influencer model. But I think if you can build a community where you really support people, all of the brands, the future direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands, big ones, will have that sense of following and that community behind them. The digital platforms, they will get an influencer behind it, and they will be the biggest. You know, Kim Kardashian just launched a fund as well. If you think about the value proposition of someone like me, okay, Oodie's just in the early stages, and I go to one of these venture funds that they have, you know, a bunch of investments, good strategic advisors, or I go to Kim Kardashian and she can just post and just literally annihilate the competition and capture all the market share within a week. It's a no-brainer. So community is so good, and the way to do it is through those digital channels.
As a CEO or managing director of a business, what can I do? Because I don't want to be the person that just stands in front of the camera and goes, hey guys, although I do that every now and again, it's just more the imposter syndrome kicks in. Why would anyone want to listen to what I have to say?
There's a few things to unpack there. First of all, is it worth it for a CEO? We're capital allocators and we're time allocators. As a CEO, it might not be the best use of your time. Is there someone we can hire to do that, to leverage that? And then there's the other point, which is maybe it's just insecurities coming out, that maybe that is the best use of your time, but you're making excuses. We've talked about happiness. There's no point, if you are successful and have optionality, to put yourself through an unhappy thing to create money. You know, that's against what we're trying to do in our lives. We're trying to create freedom. And you are going to tie yourself to that role, because once you're there, you are irreplaceable. A lot of things to consider. No situation is going to be exactly the same. I don't regret doing it for myself, obviously. It's incredibly rewarding, but I don't recommend every single CEO to try to capture their audience through TikTok, and it also might not align with their brand. If you're a serious brand, you're dancing around on TikTok, it's going to discredit you. The way we did it at the Oodie, which was quite quick, not many people had done this, but it wasn't intentional, is we had a very, very talented person in customer service that had already grown a TikTok following, and she just became the face. She handles the entire account, she creates all the content, she's on the platform 24/7, and we can measure the return on investment via post-purchase surveys. So you understand how much this platform actually brings in. Incredibly lucrative for us, but for a smaller business, you need to justify it. And there's sometimes also role sharing abilities, because we're talking about creating content here. You know, there's plenty of places that you need content created that could get a return on investment, and you could just share that resource to at least explore something like TikTok.
In the corporate world, building Instagram, LinkedIn in the corporate world is one that is probably more prevalent. Is there a different approach for LinkedIn, or is that something you've explored?
Sure. LinkedIn, Twitter is very underrated.
Yeah,
Twitter is
I agree with that. Yeah.
Been meaning to get around it, but I don't think it'd be very hard to growth hack 100,000 Twitter followers quite quickly and get millions of impressions.
Why is that? Why?
It's just a great platform. Just to create, the community is strong, the ability to grow is strong. There's not many ads that really disrupt the platform. One like and it goes to the followers. It's just like LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn, there's people that have been on Twitter for ages that are now sharing that Twitter content onto LinkedIn, and it's just going viral because they really do give a lot of impressions quite cheaply. So I think you've identified the two opportunities that I see there as well to grow those platforms, and it's text-based content as well, which is much, much easier. To a degree, copy, we've really struggled to find a great copywriter that can replicate my tone of voice and understand the subject matters deeply as well. So
your advice would be for everyone to try to grow that. If you're looking to grow and scale your business.
It depends on what business, it depends what returns you're going to get. It depends how easily you can track those returns. It also depends on what your long-term objectives is. These things are non-linear. If it goes crazy, it'll 100x your business in 3 years. So it's just about understanding the return on investment timeline as well.
Yeah. So for any startup or entrepreneurs, would your advice be to get onto the social media platforms and just promote the shit out of it, right? Or would it be like
at least test it?
At least test it. You'd be silly not to.
You'd be silly not to. There's so many social media platforms that I'd be surprised in any business model that you couldn't get one of them to work. If it was even painting, like even for a service provider for painting commercial houses, TikTok's gonna work for you.
There's something so calming about the brush stroke.
It is. If you're a service-based consulting business, LinkedIn's and Twitter's probably going to work for you.
Yeah. How do you overcome? You and I talked about this off air before, where the idea of speaking publicly, or people listening to what we have to say and actually it meaning something to them. How do you deal or manage the imposter syndrome that goes with those videos?
I think the imposter syndrome is all around growth. If you don't have imposter syndrome, chances are you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough or putting yourself in growth situation. I have very deep imposter syndrome. I don't know when it will go away, if it will ever go away, but it's just something that I'm working on. I think I'm just trying to become more happy and just complacent with how I see myself rather than how other people see myself.
What was one lesson through that chaos period that will hold the Davie group and the Oodie business in good stead from now into the future?
I think really just understanding what your business is. What is your strategy? Is it sustainable? Is it anti-fragile? Those kind of things. One iOS change and our business halves. That is not stable. Granted, I don't even think Facebook understood their platform reliance for Apple, so it'd be hard for me to predict that. But it's just a lesson in diversification, stability.
Yeah, I really liked your point earlier about instead of trying to spread too thin in horizontally, think vertically. It's definitely goes to the point of really niching out, right, on your product. The more you try to do, the more chance that there is.
Yeah, well, it's capital allocation. Where is the best use of my finite capital? And I was being told by all these private equity firms and VCs that you need to be more diversified. I took that as more brands, but truth is it was better off being spent diversifying and supporting the Oodie, which we now do to its full degree.
Thank you so much for your time today. We'll wrap it up there. It's been an amazing chat, learning a little bit more about what's going on inside your head today than I think we can jump on your YouTube and learn about how to grow and scale and all the success you've had there. But it's been really enjoyable learning. You know what? There is a human behind these brands who is actually learning and trying to grow himself and the business as it grows and scales. So, kudos for everything you've done, and kudos for everything you're going to do. I'm very, very excited about where you're going and where the business is going as well.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for thinking of me worthy. It's great.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. That's it for now. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to the podcast all. You can check out the show notes if there was anything of interest to you and find out more about us at SynergyIQ.com.au. I am going to ask though, if you did like the podcast, it would absolutely mean the world to me if you could subscribe, rate and review. And if you didn't like it, that's all right too. There's no need to do anything. Take care, guys. All the best.